All right, this is the last video in the summer series that you have to kind of watch, and the purpose of this video is basically to give you some key pointers and some key ideas what's going on with my class, so you're aware kind of from the start what we're doing. If I had to tell you 5 things that would be keys to success in AP Chem, these are the 5 things you need to do to make sure that you are successful. First, these are all common sense things too. Pretty much in any class, you're going to be successful doing these things, and anything in life actually, but especially in AP Chem. Number 1, show up. Got to be there to learn. The pace of the class is pretty fast. If you're not there, you're definitely missing out on something pretty much every day. I teach every day except for the days that you take tests or we're doing labs, but that's a different form of teaching. Second thing is work hard. What does that mean? It means you got to complete all your own homework assignments, complete them on time. You want to make sure you're following the pace of the class, doing them the night I assign them. That's just kind of obvious. 3, listen. That means when you're in class, you're focused, you're listening. You don't have your AP Psych homework out. You don't have your Spanish homework out. You're focused on what we're doing in class. You're making corrections on the work that I've given you from the night before, whatever I'm going over on the smartboard. That's where real learning happens, where you see the difference between my work and your work, and it allows you to figure out what you're doing wrong as far as breaking down the problem. Number 4, if you are getting something wrong, you got to rework the problem pretty much from scratch. It doesn't do you a lot of good to look at the work on the piece of paper that you've already had written out. You got to redo it over and over and over, or rework similar problems, practice problems until you own them. It's important because of the level of the test in this class. You have to own the material in order to be successful, because one of the key things is to integrate your problem solving. You have to be able to basically recognize what the problem is, pull the pieces that you need out of the problem, and do the calculations based on that. So reworking problems is the best way to get better in AP Chem. Last thing is help each other. What do I mean by that? Share homework, copy like bandits? No, that's not what I mean. But help each other out. Some people are going to have good days. Some people are going to have bad days. Think of yourselves as a little AP Chem family. Help each other out. Help your fellow classmates out. Help people in other class periods. Ultimately, it'll make the course better. No work, no dice. I have a no work, no dice policy. You'll see me write it on papers. Actually, I have a little stamper. I'll stamp it on papers. You can't be successful in my class without showing your work. One of the things you had to turn in before you went away to summer break was that little contract called the deal. It specifically states that this is a non-negotiable. If you're doing a problem or solving a problem in my class, I should see 3 lines in each of the problems that you're doing, depending on majority of the problems that we do would fall in this way. The reason why you have to show your work is 2 things. First, if you get it wrong, you have to know what you did wrong. You have to be able to identify it. So you're basically comparing it to the work that I put on the smartboard during class, which means if you don't know what you did or how you arrived at your answer, you just have the numerical value for the answer, you have no way of knowing if you didn't convert something, if you didn't multiply something, divide, whatever it is. So the only way you can truly learn in my class is to show your work. So the first line plus the scoring on the AP exam, you get components for each of these points. So in order to get full credit on your homeworks, quizzes, anything you do in my class, line 1 contains the original equation, same way it is on the AP exam. And I'll show you an example of this in a second. Line 2, from the directly underneath, you plug in the numbers where they go with the units, obviously. And then line 3 is going to be the answers with the units. Now, this is a simplified version. If it's a more complex calculation, there's probably going to be a little bit more work. But I call this the trifecta. This is the trifecta: equation, number, units, answer with units. So for example, you guys probably remember this from Honors Chem, PV equals nRT. So let's say we're doing an ideal gas solve problem where they were asking you to solve for P, right? So you'd write out the equation. Underneath, let's say I told you the volume was 1.5 liters, you'd write that. This would be our X. Then we go over here, our moles was, let's say, 2.5 moles. And then R, the universal gas constant, is 0.0821 liters, atmospheres, moles, Kelvin. And then finally, the temperature is 298 degrees Kelvin. Let's say on this problem, you didn't change to Kelvin. You left it in Celsius. If you just have the answer, let's say I'm not going to multiply this out, but I'm going to make up an answer. It sounds good anyway. We'll say 3.6 ATM, let's say. That's what the answer comes out to be. If you only have this, you can't identify what your error was. Did you use the wrong equation? Did you put a bad number in a place? That's why the trifecta is important. That's why I have a policy of no work, no dice. I'm not flexible with this, so if you have trouble showing your work, you might want to pay attention to the last slide in the video. That might help you. Let's see here. Extra credit always makes AP kids happy, makes them smile. Look, there's a little smile for you. Deluxe edition. There's two forms of extra credit. It's been modified from years past, so pay attention. You can get 10%, yes, a letter grade added to each of your unit tests. That's a big multiple choice test in my class. You have to do 3 things in order to get the 10%. All 3 completed. If you don't have all 3 completed, then, well, you don't get it. It's all or nothing pretty much. Complete all the homework for the unit for full credit. Bam. That means you don't have any issues with no work, no dice. You turn it in on time. When I ask it to be turned in, either on turnitin.com or the tray in the morning, it's been checked off. No late work. No late work. All complete. Boom. You get 2.5% for that. You complete the practice exam. For every unit exam, I will post a practice exam. You show all your work. Again, no work, no dice. You complete that. It's good practice for you. Bring it to class. I check it off. Boom, another 2.5. Last but not least, you complete an INTO. INTO stands for I need to understand by its due date. So when I hand back a test, I'll give you a little slip that tells you which problems you have to work out and fix and clearly explain each one because we learn from our mistakes in my class. You get 5% for that. For those of you guys with good math skills, 2.5, 2.5 plus 5 equals 10%. The key is you must complete all 3 parts. It's all or nothing. Miss some homework during the unit, incomplete. Basically, the extra credit doesn't apply to you. Don't complete the practice exam, it doesn't apply to you. Don't complete the INTO, it doesn't apply to you. You can't do 2 of these and get 5%. It's all or nothing, so keep that in mind. That's the deluxe edition of the extra credit. The super deluxe extra credit is going to be a little harder to get because it really requires a lot of effort on your part in attendance. Extra credit, super deluxe, you get to drop your lowest test score from the semester. So come December, either first quarter or second quarter, you can drop your lowest test score. You complete all the extra credits for each of the unit tests. So what I just told you about on this sheet right here, you basically do all 3 of these for every unit test. And you are present for every single unit exam. Either there's no unexcused absences. If you are there for every single unit exam, you can take your lowest test score and discard it once during the first semester. It will definitely help your grade. But this is a super deluxe extra credit. It will not apply to anyone. If you miss a test for whatever reason, a unit test, you're out of the running as far as that goes. So that it's going to be a little more rare for that one. We do INTOs in my class. What is an INTO? INTO stands for I need to understand. The key thing in my class is you're going to learn more from your mistakes than problems that you get right. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. So we have an INTO form that I'm going to put online. You'll print out and bring to class whenever we have to do test corrections. There are 2 key components I'm looking for an excellent INTO. First thing is it explains why the wrong answer chosen is incorrect. So you're telling me why you picked an answer that was incorrect. You have to tell me why. That's part of the learning process. Because if you picked it, you thought it was right for some reason, you have to understand why it is wrong. The other part of it explains why the answer is correct with a because statement. Pretty much you should have a because statement on both of these and connecting it to a specific chemistry concept. So when you have an INTO sheet, it's going to kind of look like this. You'll have a place where you put the question number that you got wrong, why my answer is incorrect. If you look, this is a good example. This is a very good INTO. A is incorrect because if you decrease the temperature, then it is reactant favored. And it makes sense when you look at the question. You have to know decreasing temperatures can make reactions reactant favored, which we'll get to. That'll be in February when we get to that. But the person that did this INTO is correctly explaining that's why it's incorrect. Because it was asking if you increase the temperature so it goes against and it's reactant favored. So they're using a chemistry concept. It's got a because. Why the answer is correct. B is correct because if you increase the temperature, Le Chat, which we'll learn about, shifts it away leftward to be product favored. It makes it automatically a product favored reaction because of it, so I can see a clear, specific chemistry concept. You don't have to write a paragraph for all these, but you have to be specific and explain why it's correct versus why it's incorrect. Here's an example of an into that's not so good. Now, question 6, why my answer was incorrect. I mixed up the acids and the bases. What acids and bases? How did you mix them up? What specifically makes that the answer choice, which the answer choice isn't even listed here, that answer choice incorrect? You have to be specific. For an into to be a good into in my class, this has to be specific. There's no because here. Why is the answer correct? Both F and OH minus are bases. There's no because there. This has to be much more specific. Both of these require much more specific explanations with it because you saw the other example. This does not cut the mustard in my class. All right, you're watching a video. Seen a few of them already and school hasn't even started. Why are videos such a big part of the class? I use the videos to teach key concepts. So key specific things that you must know that allow us to build to more complex conceptual things in chemistry. They allow you to review anytime. So when I post them on YouTube, if you're having trouble in a section, you can always go back and review the video. It always helps. And then video quizzes are directly related to content that we learn every single day. They're connected. You're responsible when you walk in the door. If I give you a video, they usually follow. What usually happens the next day in class is I will take components from the video or the video notes and give you a quiz. Because it's not like you click on it, play the video, walk away, go do whatever you do, come back. You have to pay attention, jot notes, make sure you understand the information because it's core. It's basically the foundation of your learning in my class. Very, very important. Homework selfies. You guys already started taking them a little bit. One of the things you want to do when you take a homework selfie is, if this is your homework, looks like this, you want to make sure your camera, your phone that you're using to do it, is directly above, not at an angle. Some people would take it like this and your homework's laying down like this on the, I'm not real good at three-dimensional drawing. The idea is have your camera parallel, or your phone is parallel. So let's say this would be your phone, is parallel to the paper as it is on the table. Not at an angle, not like this, at an angle. You want it basically taking a direct photo because it's called the keystone effect. It's a lot easier for me to read on a computer if your cell phone is directly centered, hovering over your paper as it's laying on the table. That's how you want to take it. You don't want to take it from the side of the table. You want to basically have your camera or your phone, your camera phone, smartphone, whatever you're using, directly over it. The other key thing is there's an app that's free called Genius Scan. It is a PDF scanner. What it allows you to do is you can take multiple pictures and turn them into multiple page PDF files, which will basically turn it into black and white, so it's not a color shot, reduces the amount of memory that's used, and you can post that directly to turnitin.com once it's in a PDF. So if you have 2 or 3 pages of homework, what you would do is you would take 2 or 3 homework selfies, sweet, and then you would use Genius Scan. You link all the pictures together. It allows you to change them. You could try it. It's called Genius Scan. I asked you to do it before. Some people did, some people didn't. It makes them a lot easier for me to read and check to see what's going on. Homework labels. There are about 100 kids in my class. I give you about 160 assignments in my class. So that means roughly I am grading 16,000 papers from your class. 16,000 papers over the year. Here's how your homework needs to be labeled. Your name and the date that you do the assignment needs to be on the left-hand side of your binder paper. Whatever period you're in needs to be written very large with a box, gigantic font on your right-hand side. In the center, I will number my assignments. Once we start the chapters, you'll put the assignment number in the center. Even if it's something you're uploading to turnitin.com, when I refer to homework assignments in class, if you have them properly labeled, you can find them quickly. Helps me review with you in class. And if I do, from time to time, we'll collect your homework to look it over even more than just on turnitin.com. It has to be properly labeled. I take off out of each homework assignment in my class is 20 points. If you don't have proper labeling, the first time I'll take off a -3. After that, it's -5. So just label it. 16,000 papers is a lot for me to go through. Help me help you. I wonder if I can get a guidance appointment Monday. Well, my class is a lot of work. Hopefully you asked around before you signed up. It is a lot of work. I require a lot of you. Ultimately, I want you to be successful. I'm going to work very hard to make sure you're successful, but there's just things you have to do. You have to show up. You have to work hard. You have to listen. You have to work the problems till you own them, and you need to take care of each other. If that doesn't sound like a good deal, think it over, because the reality is, ask around kids that have had me. I have high expectations for you guys, and I want you to be successful. So the things that I require in my class allow you to be as successful as possible. All right, I will see you guys Monday. Remember, there's an in-class test, so make sure you study those polyatomic ions and make sure you know that naming. All right, I will see you Monday. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your summer.